And now, weighing in out of the blue corner, Josh the Pug Thompson. 100% agree. And on the other mic, he weighs in from the red corner, Big John McCarthy.
Gosh, we got a lot to cover this weekend. But before we get started, I want to let you guys know we just launched also on Stitcher. We're also on Spotify and iTunes and SoundCloud, Google Play, all the other stuff that you can think of. YouTube. You can think of everything that we're on. We're on there as well. Also, follow me at The Real Punk on Instagram and Twitter. John McCarthy MMA on Instagram and Twitter. Podcast Dave on Instagram and Twitter. So we're pretty much all the way around. We just want to get that out real quick before we get started because there's so much to talk about. And this may take a couple hours. So I hope you guys just buckle up, baby. Let's go.
Let's go.
Yeah, that was a little loud. I could hear it echo back in my ear. It got me. Sorry, guys. Sorry for that. Got too excited. Too much to talk about. All right. Where do you want to start, man? It was rainy, cold, really windy. But I gotta tell you, look, outside of the fans and the crowd, people are really freaking nice.
Yeah, they are.
I know, but like we've been to places where they don't even give a crap. You know, like you say, they meet you and they're like they don't even like no one. You know, like you go to certain towns and it's like they just are like MMA. They're like, what's that? You know, and like you talk to them. You know, you even you'll say Bellator, you'll say MMA, you'll say UFC, and they're just still like, yeah, whatever. Like people sometimes just don't care about combat sports. You know, you talk to people about boxing, they're like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, those are weird people.
Yeah, they're very strange. Yeah, they have no
what kind of life would that be?
Concept of life. No concept of life.
Christ, if it wasn't for violence, I'd be a bum on the street. God bless violence.
That is true. I kind of think the same way, though. That's true. That's funny you say that. Man, jeez. Man, then people like Dave could just go around talking shit to everybody if no one knew how to beat him up. But good thing we all do. Other than that, I felt like we had a really good card. I felt like everything was great. We did. Your guys' card was phenomenal.
Awesome.
You know, I thought our card was amazing as well. We had, you know, the Channel 5 card. It had ups and downs. I thought they fought well. They just it wasn't a fan friendly kind of type of fight. You know, the first two fights, you know, from Chalmers and Charlie Ward. But they got the W's, man, and
Chalmers did.
Ward did, yeah. Chalmers did. Ward did. But yeah, I mean, there's just a lot of things that need to be talked about. Let's. Do you want to talk about my card first or your card?
Doesn't matter.
Bellator Friday. Let's do Bellator Friday night. Let's go. So we don't confuse people when we're going back and forth. Bellator Friday night. Let's talk.
We had some really good fights. Good preliminaries and a very good main card and some big time upsets actually. You know, the whole thing with getting right into it. You look at the main card and you know it was Javier Ayala got dominated by Moldavsky, and I kind of saw that kind of coming if he couldn't land the big shot. Moldavsky's fast, and you know I give Javi for a big guy. Javi's got speed, but not as much as Moldavsky. And Moldavsky's just got more technical skill. His grappling was better. He was able to take him down at will. I mean, the judges had it, and they had it right. You know, I think one of them gave every round 10-8 to Moldavsky. Two of them gave 2 rounds 10-8. So it was, you know, a dominating performance. But the fight that came next, heavyweight, was Tyrell Fortune against Tim Johnson. And
you're catching a little bit of flack for that.
Oh, that's good. I like, you know, look, my job is to, especially if you've got some guys that are, you know, you can see they're really good.
Yeah.
And Tyrell is really good. He lost. That's heavyweights.
Yeah.
You know, and I was really comparing him. You look at record-wise and everything. Now, they had fought a different level of competition. But Cain Velasquez, good wrestling. Tyrell Fortune actually has better wrestling. If you were looking at, you know, their careers as wrestlers. You know, both of them, big gas tanks. I think Cain's got a little bit bigger gas tank, but Tyrell doesn't get tired. Now, the real question is no one has been able to push him and make him uncomfortable, and we'll see what happens, you know, if that occurs. But you look and, you know, Cain won his UFC championship in his 9th professional fight against Brock. He lost his 10th professional fight when he fought, you know, Junior Dos Santos, and, you know, got knocked out. And that's heavyweights. That can happen. You can be the better fighter. And I think Cain proved he's the better fighter overall when he came back and he beat, Junior Dos Santos 2 times there.
Yeah.
But his first loss, he got clipped. And in this one, I'm trying to bump up Tyrell because he's complaining about Bellator's not pushing him enough and stuff. And so, I'm trying to give him love. We did that little clip thing to show, some of the fights he's had. And Tim Johnson came out there and landed that beautiful right hand right on the button. And, and he, in the time, when I had, fight interviews and I'm talking to him, and he's like, I know all you guys think I'm going to lose. He says, I haven't had a 3-fight losing streak. I don't intend to have that happen. I said, well, that's the way to go into it. I said, hey, it's heavyweights. Anything can happen. And that's what happened. I do know that Tyrell hurt his knee the night before. Training with Ed Roof, just going through warm-ups and getting hot, and he hurt his knee. And I talked to, Trevor Lally before the fight, somewhere probably about, 4 hours before the fight. And he was just in a tizzy saying he didn't feel good about this. Now Tyrell, we got to change the entire game plan. He can't move the same. And look at what happens. And that's not an excuse. Tim won the fight. He knocked him out. And, Tyrell didn't even know. He didn't, when they raised Tim Johnson's hand, he was like, what? He still had no idea he'd been knocked out.
Yeah.
He got in the back and he had a tirade. So.
Yeah. There's a lot of things that I can, the fact that you're trying to compare him to Kane says a lot. I've seen him fight a couple times. I think he's extremely talented. For me, I haven't seen, and I'm going to critique him a little bit, is maybe the knee injury had something to do with it. But in the exchanges, every time he even threw the knees, which I thought he had great knees in the exchanges, he still leaves his chin up in the air. He was getting hit on the exchanges on the exit of it all. Maybe I'm nitpicking at the little things, especially. But the problem is you have him on a platform up here more than I do. But I still think he's extremely talented. I still think he potentially will be the future Bellator champ. It's just a matter of the fact that I feel that he needs to clean up the technique a tiny bit, especially because I ran into one of his coaches at the kids' Pan Ams when I was down there coaching my kids. I ran into one of his coaches there, and he's like, dude, he's so ready. He's this, he's that. But I'm not seeing the entry of him utilizing his wrestling. And I think that's the problem sometimes with guys. Kane never got away from his wrestling, ever. Didn't matter what it was. He boxed, but he always had the idea of if I get too close, I'm going to grab the leg, or I'm going to snatch the leg, or I'm going to go to the clinch and then knee and then come back out. He always mixed it up really well. Even if he didn't want to get the takedown, if I threatened it enough against a heavyweight, if I threatened it enough against a heavyweight, it makes them respond instead of throwing. They think more in terms of defend the takedown because I don't want to end up on the bottom. Heavyweights don't want to end up on the bottom. They'll never get the fuck up. They're like,
you can't be
turtles on the bottom.
You can't be.
Yeah, and so when you put that fear of them being on bottom, they change their game plan. They stop throwing strikes to figure out how to defend. And he didn't do that really. There was never I'm not saying you have to shoot to drop down on the knees, but he never really attacked to try to grab the leg on a single leg or switch to a double. And that, I think, let Johnson know that, hey, I can do whatever I want now. I just throw my combinations. If he's not going to throw, he wants to stand with me. And that wasn't the type of fight. And I don't think moving forward, that should be the type of fight that he fights. He always needs to have that threat of the wrestling, especially early, because that'll make them hesitant to let their hands go because they're afraid you're going to shoot. And for all the accolades that you're going to give him, that's the one thing that I think you cannot get away from when you're a talented wrestler. And I think it showed a little bit in that fight. Now, maybe the knee had something to do with it. I would imagine 100% it did. But even like I said with Kane, even though we knew the game plan wasn't to take him down, like with Nogueira, the game plan was never to take him down. But in one of the very first exchanges, like he kind of like went to the body and then kind of broke away. But it was at least to make him think about that, and circle and get off, So like you have guys that are extremely good jiu-jitsu guys, which Johnson isn't, and Tyrell Fortune didn't need to worry about that. But he just still needed to threaten the takedown enough to make him be hesitant with the hands, the knees, whatever it was, especially on the break. There was a couple times he got hit on the break coming out. He kneed, and then Johnson kept throwing, and he went to break away. And if I had one of those landed, it would have been over sooner. And so that's just my critique on that type of issue. That's all.
No, and it's absolutely fair. But this is what happens, especially when, you watch Tyrell's first fight. It was all wrestling. because that's what he knew.
Yeah.
And he was scared to be in the stand-up. And over time, he has fallen in love with being a stand-up fighter. Similar to what we see a lot with a lot of guys that are outstanding wrestlers, and they learn how to strike, and they go, wow, this is actually easier for me. I don't have to work real hard, and I don't have to get tired, and I can stand in control. And, you know, this is going to happen at times. This is what, you know, fighting MMA, and this is why when you talked about heavyweights, especially heavyweights, you know, Khabib is 28-0, you know, Amazov 23-0.
Wow.
Right? Which is incredible. But, you know, you take a look back with Fedor. This is when people, you know, Dana has been, you know, this whole thing, Fedor's not that good. Fedor was unbelievable.
Yeah.
Because he truly, you know, his only loss was the loss to Tsuyoshi Kosaka. And it was based upon an illegal elbow that cut him. And they stopped the fight, and he was in a tournament, and they had to have someone go on, and he couldn't go on, so they gave him a loss and gave TK the win. And you go, well, that's not right. And that was his only loss out of 32 fights.
Wow.
You're looking, you know, he was that far in his career, truthfully, without a loss. At heavyweight, that is incredible, because all it takes is that one shot with the big guys, and you can go out. Tim Johnson looked fantastic with that. And I was very happy for Tim, because he's a good guy, man. And I really, you know, I tried to give him props for, you know, he took on Minikoff on about an 8-hour.
Yeah,
you know, because
that was Connecticut, right? Hartford.
Yeah. Not Hartford. It was what the hell is it called? Starts with a B.
Belmont,
Whatever.
Belmont.
Not Belmont.
No, I don't know.
No. I want to say
Bridgeport.
Bridgeport,
Connecticut.
But you know, he took that fight with, like, I don't know, between 6 and 8 hours.
Yeah.
You know, and you look and you go, man, that's ballsy, because he knew what Minikoff was, because he had actually trained with him. You know, and so he's a good guy. He's a tough guy, and man, that's a big win for him, and that helps, you know, elevate him within the Bellator heavyweight division. And you know, Tyrell goes back multiple steps. He's got, you know, he's going to have to do, you know, some rebuilding to come back and get in that spot, because he was very close. I think that the Valentin Moldavsky moved up into that, you know, elite heavyweight position in the Bellator ranks, and Tyrell did not. He was at that point where he could have, and he didn't make it. Tim Johnson kind of put himself back towards that, and you got guys like, you know, Minikoff there and Bader and all of them, and now we lost Barnett. He's not going to be fighting.
He's done, right? He's done.
You know, you never know, but I would think. Yes.
Yeah, I would think he's done. What is he, 39?
Oh, no. He's 40, 41, 42.
Oh, is he really that old? I thought he was 39, maybe 40. I was thinking maybe 40, but yeah.
He's as old as you.
That's pretty old. That's pretty old. Yeah. He just that's very disappointing to hear.
Yeah. You know what? Hey, you get caught that many times, someone's got to smack you in the head.
Yeah. You know. So what was the next fight on there? Miles Jury and
Brandon Gertz.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I thought Brandon fought his heart out. I thought he did exactly what he could do to try to win that fight. He was making big rushes in, trying to land the big shot against Jury. I'll tell you what, Jury did that little step forward counter knee that he would bring into him when he'd make that rush.
Yeah.
He landed that thing multiple times, and you could see it affected Brandon a couple of times.
Yeah.
You know, Miles had a very good game plan. He wanted to stay on the outside, pick him apart when he made those rushes in with the big shots, stay away from that big looping left hand that he likes to throw. And I thought Miles fought a very smart fight, a clean fight, you know, got the decision victory. It was a close fight.
It was a close fight.
I understand why Brandon is, you know, upset, you know, but close fights, that's what's going to happen. It's not like it was a bad decision. It wasn't. Miles looked really good in that fight.
No, it wasn't a bad. You can't say it was a bad decision. It was so close.
No.
It was one of those decisions. I thought Miles fought a lot better fight than he fought against Benson, but you're also looking at a completely different style of fight than he would have had to fight Benson. I thought I thought he was more relaxed. He seemed more at home, I think, this time around. I don't know what it was. The game plan was definitely a lot better. The push kick up the middle to the gut, sometimes to the face, and occasionally that step-in knee. I like that little step-in switch knee that he was doing. That was nice as well. I thought he did a good job. I thought, he needed to get on the win track. I mean, I don't know about him asking to have my job already, but he needs to dial it back. Calm down, buddy. He still got
not only did he want the job, he wants the title. He wants the shot there. You got a couple more, I think. But that's all right.
You got a little ways to go, buddy. Yeah. But I thought it was a good step in the right direction. I think now that he's got his first win, the cobwebs will be off, hopefully, for the next time. We're going to see a little more. I want to see him on the ground, man. Like, he's so good on the ground. I want to see him be there more. What is this, stand-up guy? Like, get it to the ground. Let's see all the accolades that so many people talk about. I want to see it. But, I mean, I get it. I understand. I mean, like, the Gertz fight, probably a little harder to get down since Gertz is, 5'6", 5'7", maybe?
About 5'7".
Yeah, it's hard to get underneath guys like that to try to get them to the ground.
Yeah, especially when you're 6 foot tall, like Jury,
So he's extremely talented. I think the sky's the limit for him. I like to see him, get after. I'd love to see him and maybe an Adam Piccolotti fight.
That would be a good fight.
That to me would be a fucking wonderful fight.
Both of those guys match up so well.
Yeah.
They're both strong, in the stand-up. They're both outstanding on the ground. That would be a great matchup.
Yeah, that or maybe like Yamauchi. I could see that as well. But I'd prefer to see possibly the more of the Adam Piccolotti style of fight. That'd be a good fight for the two of them.
Yeah.
Adam's got a fight, I believe, coming up in San Jose here pretty shortly. And then after that, maybe we'll see the two of them get after each other. That'd be a great style of contrast. Then
we had Ed Ruth against Amazov. And, man, dude, whatever anyone wants to say, Amazov for a guy, you talking the old Josh Koscheck, man, you can't teach a grown man how to wrestle. Oh, yes, you can.
Here's the thing, though. He's got a Sambo background. It's like that. That is wrestling, though.
He started off as a kid, 15 years of age, training. Never wrestled, never had a striking thing, never did any submission thing. He just started training MMA. And you take a look at what he does. Yeah. Dude, that Haragosh he hit Ed Ruth with, you see Ed Ruth going, that's a
twice.
Oh, dude, the first one was unbelievable.
Yes.
I mean, just beautifully done. And I was like, oh my God, he just hit that so perfectly. And, no offense that Ed got, tossed by anyone. The way he set it up, the way he did it, he did exactly what he was supposed to do. But his grappling is outstanding for a guy that never really wrestled or did that competitively. And coming from, where he's coming from, he trained with a lot of really good wrestlers, and they obviously, taught him well, but he just keeps getting better and better. His movement in the stand-up, he's always balanced. He's always throwing things. He's not always trying to throw with power, but he's always trying to just make you move into his power.
Yeah.
And I was really impressed with the way he competed in that fight. I thought Ed started off a little slow. He tried to bump it up a little bit, and it just, every time that he amped it a little bit, Amazov met it. Every time he got it a little bit, Amazov met it. And it was just, it was Amazov's night.
Yeah, I was extremely excited about this fight that I actually stayed up until fucking 6 a.m. in Ireland, the day of our fight, and watched the whole damn card so I could see. I even watched the post-lims on YouTube afterwards, so I didn't go to bed till like almost 6:45 in the morning. It was brutal. I had to be for call time at like 10:30 or something like that in the morning. I got a couple hours of sleep. Then I called 20 fights after that. Very nice. Anyways, I thought it was if people were at home, you guys are thinking maybe, it wasn't that good. It was, dude, it was such a technical fight.
Yep.
You don't seem to understand. There was one time when Amazov threw him, and Ed rolled it all the way through to the top position.
Beautiful.
And I was like, this is crazy. And then you guys didn't say anything on air, and I'm like, John, why didn't you say anything? That was so beautiful.
That's because Mora was talking.
I know. It's like, so you sometimes got to try to get a word in edgewise when Goldie and Mora were talking. But anyways, I was just like, oh my gosh. If people at home don't understand what just happened, that was so phenomenal. I don't know. I geeked out completely when that happened. I'm like, and it was just such a good fight all the way around. It was so technical, and I'm going to use that term again, like two little ferrets on the ground, man. They were changing positions. You know, there was a couple times where Amosov almost had his back, and Ed, they like slid his hips over his hips and then rolled back on top of him, turned back and ended up on top. And I'm like, I was like, man, this is crazy. This is just, they were so good, so technical. And I know sometimes technique doesn't translate to a good fight, but like for people at home going, oh, this wasn't like, you know, the slobber knockers and people just standing in front of each other.
But I'll tell you what, they just cracked each other a couple of times, really heavy.
They did.
And there was so much going on. That was what MMA is all about. It had everything.
Yep. And this is, okay, look, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about this. And I know it's a little bit off topic, but it's still about the fights. Is that Tyrell Fortune was a negative 900 underdog on the betting lines. Okay. Ed Ruth was a negative 800. So he was favored. Basically, like
he was favored by. Are you kidding?
Almost 9-1 and 8-1 over Amosov. I'm seriously wondering if we're going to continue to get odds like that for the Bellator fights, because I don't think the betting people understand who they are just yet. I'm just being honest. I'm going to start making some money. I don't know if I'm allowed to, but this is crazy. When I saw the betting lines were negative 900, it was like negative 900 to, you know, whatever, for Tyrell Fortune over Tim Johnson, and it was negative 800 for Ed Ruth over Amosov.
So what was the plus on Tim Johnson or the plus on Amosov?
Like plus 200 or something like that, plus 200.
It had to be more. If it was 700, 800, it had to be plus 450
something.
Somewhere in there.
I don't know. I have to go back and take a look at it and see. I'll find out from my betting guy here, but I do know that those are the lines. Damn. I was just like, this is crazy. And I'm like, how do you have someone who's 22-0 being an underdog, being the underdog by that much? That much. It was crazy. I know it's off topic, but if you guys are gamblers, maybe you guys start looking into that. You know, putting some more money down. Bellator odds, because
UFC odds are a little harder.
Yeah, if you're gonna get those kind of odds, man, I'd be looking to make some money. That's for sure. All the things that I thought would potentially be a problem for Ed, I don't want to say that I already thought they would be, is that you said he started off slow, and I worked with him a little bit this camp. They call him Easy Ed Ruth for a reason, because he makes everything look so easy, but he also fights at an easy pace, or you think it's an easy pace. It was a very fast-paced fight, but everything is so relaxed and fluid with him. He's got to feel like that fluidity, you know, like just the way he flows with things. But when you get to that upper level of guys like Amosov, you can't always fight that way. You need to sometimes ramp it up and then slow it down. Ramp it up and slow it down. And he never really did that. He kind of gradually tried to increase it. And like you said, Amosov stepped it up. Then he tried to gradually increase it. Sometimes you need to remind them that I can go at this faster pace than you and go. And then dial it back down and then go.
Get them to that level where they start to actually, they're starting to break. And you can actually take a break down a little bit with it and then step it back up. And it's the one thing about Ed that I look at, and it's like he's so relaxed. He's comfortable out there.
Yeah.
But if you're that comfortable and it's even, you need to step it up to get past that level of what your opponent is doing.
Because it's easy to do for a 6-minute wrestling match. It's hard to do for 15 minutes straight. You know what I mean? Like And so he needs to figure out that happy medium. And I worked with him a little bit this last fight, and we're on the mitts, and I'm like, no, Ed, you need to let it go. It can't be like a pop pace. It's got to be like you know, like it's just got to be that. And if it's not that, then we got to figure something out. And so I know it was kind of like there was a routine. There was a little bit in there. It was too close to the fight. We only worked together for a couple of weeks. I just can't I don't want to change anything coming up that close. And I don't want to put my 2 cents in. I want to let him ease in and keep his mind where it is. But little tiny changes need to be made. You know, very little ones, nothing much. Just, you know, and then the other thing as well, when I see with him, is the movement. The movement's gotta, when you circle out and you move, he reaches out to kind of block punches. And that bugs me as well. Those are the things that kind of, those bug me. Like you already know that they want to punch you in the face. So there's no reason to reach out there. You know where their hands are coming. Their hands are coming right at your face. There's no reason to go and try and catch them way out there. Defend here. Anyways, I can get into this all day long. there's no doubt he's talented. There's no doubt that I think potentially, honestly, I mean, that he still has so much more to go to learn.
He's so young in his career.
And he's like a sponge, though. He's a gym rat. He really is a gym rat. He loves being in the gym, but he sometimes like to do things on his own. He, like, if he comes in, he sees there's too many people sparring on the ground or on the, in the open area, he'll just grab his gloves and he'll hit bag for the whole hour. That's hard to find guys that'll do that. But then you're also taking away from the time that you could be getting live rounds in. He's like, yeah, it's too crowded. I don't want to get into it. And, and so it kind of takes away some of those days where he should be in there trying to get it mixed up. So there's a bunch of little things I think that could be fixed and worked, but they're so minute, to fix. I mean, I think even just a couple months would make a huge difference. I'm not saying it has to be me. I'm just simply saying I just see the little tiny quirks that I think would have went a long way in a fight like this against Amosov. And Amosov is just, he is extremely talented. I'm not quite sure if I'm ready to say he's ready for Lima, because Ed wasn't ready for Lima either. And a win over Ed, and it was a tough fight for both of them, but I had Amosov winning the way that it went. I would say I would like to see maybe a Lorenz Larkin fight somewhere in there, unless Lorenz is fighting someone else coming up. I'd like to see Lorenz in MVP as well. There's a couple guys. I
would like to see Lorenz in MVP.
Or if maybe even you gave him Paul Daly and Amosov.
Paul Daly and Amosov would be a great fight.
Yeah, that type of fight as well. So I mean, like, that would let me know exactly. I know Ed would. He let me know exactly where he was with Ed. Ed brings a bunch.
But you gotta admit, and this is just the way that Ed's got incredible credentials.
Yes.
Okay, but he doesn't have in cage experience. He's got just a limited amount, and that's where you look and you say, yes, beating Ed Ruth. That says a lot about your level and your ability.
Yeah.
But to go against someone like a Paul Daly, Paul's got so much experience, and he can change things. And his wrestling people talk about, wrestlers beat him. You got to be a damn good wrestler to get Paul Daly down.
Yeah.
And you've got to get through his hands, because I still say, that guy's probably got the best left hook I've ever seen in MMA.
Yeah.
He just can swat with that thing.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot there. And if you get past a veteran guy like Paul Daly, that is saying a whole lot about where you're at.
Yeah, very true. Very true.
It would be nice to see that fight.
I want to bring up one fight that was in the post limbs that I was actually disgusted by. Was Salim.
I know which one you're going to say.
Salim
against Chris Lencioni.
And I like Lencioni. I like him as well. I like him a lot. Nice guy. Great guy. Trains out of, or used to train with Chael and those guys. They call him Sunshine because he's like that super nice guy. It's actually kind of annoying that he's so nice. But extremely nice, extremely talented, very, very good fighter. But Salim got robbed. Straight up, just got fucking robbed. Tell me what happened in the decision. Tell me what your thoughts were. Outside the fact that
I don't. I can tell you right now. That was 3 world-class judges in that fight. And Sal D'Amato being one of them that gave it to Chris Lencioni. I think Chris Lee was the other guy that gave it to Lencioni, and Jaron Villel gave it to Salim. And I gave it to Salim. I thought it was an easy fight to judge.
I thought it was extremely easy to judge.
I did not think that it was that close. I thought Chris had his moments where he was doing some things, that were good, but his leg was kind of messed up, and he, gave up the whole stand up trying to get Salim to the ground. And even when he did, never was able to. I think he locked one submission attempt on him, and Salim just, in the stand-up, I thought he was just, kind of big brothering him. He was just pushing him around, knocking him around. And on the ground, when they got to the ground, I thought Salim landed some good strikes that actually, made it to where, hey, if you're going to go for the submission attempts, he's beating you up on the ground. You better lock that thing and make it close.
Yeah.
And I never saw that happen. And so I thought that Salim Mukadinov had won the fight, and I was really surprised when it went to Chris Lencioni.
Yeah, full disclosure, I trained with Salim, but I'm glad you said it, because I was like, did I fucking miss something? I thought maybe because it was 6:30 in the morning that I fell asleep and I woke up and the decision was something happened, and I just went back and I rewound it on YouTube, and I was like, what the fuck? Like, what fight were you guys watching? I have no idea he won.
I didn't see the fight they saw.
Yeah, he big brothered him, like you said, on the feet all the way around. The only thing I could possibly think of is that Salim, he was a little hesitant to like overcommit on things. He did hurt him a couple. I felt like he didn't hurt him, but he did hit him with some good clean shots, and he didn't follow up very much. It was almost like enjoying his work. And I don't know, maybe that's the only thing I could think of, is like there was no sense of urgency once he did hit him with some good shots. And that's frustrating, I think, is from a fan watching. I was a fan at the time and was watching him fight. Like, I'm thinking, like, get after him. Like, you hit him with a clean shot. Like, at least put some pressure on him, you know? And so, but I agreed that I just wanted to get your take on it because that's your area of expertise.
I really thought that I thought Salim won that fight. When the announcement was it, I was like, "Are you kidding?" And then I saw who gave what to who, and I was really surprised that it went to Chris. But
all right, well let's I'm gonna kind of skip around a little bit. Okay, we'll do that. I was gonna do Wilder and Fury, but let's talk Ireland. Let's do Ireland.
All right.
What fight stood out to you the most? I mean, look, I could sit here all day because I had 20 fights to call. So tell me what fight. Tell me what fight you liked.
I did like I like Brent Primus's performance.
Okay.
I thought that was a good performance against a guy that is very good on the ground, and he just he got in trouble in the very beginning of that.
Yeah.
Little bit of trouble, but just worked his way through, and then just took over and he smoked him on that. He just is like, okay, I'm tired of you, and
yeah,
nice submission victory, and that's what he's supposed to do, though. That is what, if you're at that level that Primus is supposed to be at, that's what you're supposed to do. Bungard is good, but he's not the guy that you say that should be going the distance with a guy like Primus.
No,
in that type of fight. So, Primus is supposed to get rid of him. He did. You got to give him credit. And God damn, he's big for 155 pounds, man. Every time I look at him,
both of them are big.
Holy Christ!
I looked at Bungard. I was like, good heavens, dude, you are enormous, enormous. Just like Kiefer Crosby's not a big guy for 160. They fought at 160 in the catch weight. But Furtado, I can't even pronounce his first name.
Yeah. Furtado was big. Ikeam or whatever it was.
Imek, I think is what his name was. Furtado. He is enormous. That guy was so big. I couldn't believe when I did the fighter interview, I'm like, oh, how much more weight do you got to lose? And he's like, oh, only like 6 or 7. I'm like, maybe you have really skinny legs. And I saw him in the fight, and I'm like, no.
Huge thighs.
You have huge legs. Like, where the fuck did that come from? Primus did what he was supposed to do. He was in trouble with those elbows right from the beginning. I thought it was going to get stopped because he kind of looked like he went limp a little bit for a second. He worked his way back up.
He got hurt.
You got to be careful and cautious of guys that have nothing to lose. And, and Bungard had nothing to use. He went out there. He's like, look, I'm shooting for the fences right now. Realistically, like I know what this is all about. I just came in. It was a good payday, and here we are. He's like, I got to step up, and it is what it is. I think he's also taking the fight knowing, like, hey, if I do you a solid, maybe you guys will do me a solid a little bit later. I mean, that's kind of the relationship that Bellator kind of has with some of the guys. Like, hey, you want to step up and do us a favor? I've heard that, and they'll sometimes do him a solid on the next one. Who knows? Maybe give him a little pay increase, whatever it is. But I thought him stepping up, he had a hard time making weight. He was off by 4 pounds. That's a lot, by the way. For people that are questioning, that is a lot. And the crappy thing is this. We had like 3 other fighters miss weight. And there's no reason for you guys to be missing weight in Bellator. There's not one fucking reason. You want to know why? Because all you have to do is call them and tell them, hey, I prefer not to cut weight. As long as my opponent agrees, we'll do we'll meet at let's just say the weight at 160. Kiefer Crosby did not want to make 155 because he had his son that week. He called up Furtado and said, hey, I don't want to try to make 155. Can we meet at 160? And Furtado said, fuck yeah. And then they ended up fighting at 160. It makes sense. It makes sense. There's no reason for you to go through an extra 5 pounds struggling, for that to happen. So that's like one of the good things I think about Bellator. Now, if the title's on the line, you have no option. You got to make the weight. But if that's the way you're going to say you're going to fight at, then that's the way you're going to have to fight at. So these other guys that were on the prelims, three other ones missed weight, and we're just like, you got to be kidding me. You guys are on the prelims. Like, just say, hey, I'm not going to make the weight, like, or, you know, can we do the contract weight? Don't come in the morning of and step on the scale and then be off by 3 pounds, 4 pounds. It doesn't make any sense. I was just baffled when I was sitting there watching this. I'm like, you guys are crazy. Gosh, you guys know we've done this before multiple times for other people. You guys got to get this figured out. You know, maybe I don't know. Anyways, that's my rant and my frustration, I think, for today. Until I go off on Dave later.
I did love I don't know the two fighters' names. One kid has got just one loss, and they're doing. The guy steps on Dan Miragliotta's foot. Down goes Miragliotta. Down goes Miragliotta.
Did you like that? Did you like when
I saw it? I go, oh, down goes Dan.
I was in.
It's one of those things. I swear to you, in the thousands and thousands of fights, I never went down. I've seen all of them. I've seen Herb go down, Dan go down, Eves go down, all of them. And it was the one thing I said, man, I ain't never going down.
It was so funny, man. And I was mid-sentence explaining what the action was, and he went down. I said, down goes Miragliotta. It was so funny. It was so funny. I was like, oh, shit, I hope I don't get in trouble for saying that. But it was, to me, it was hilarious.
You got to do it, man.
It was hilarious. I'm trying to remember what fight that was, though.
I can't think of the fighters' names since I wasn't there, but there was a couple. You had a couple of really good fights on the prelims.
Oliver Enkamp to me. God, he is good.
Yeah, he's talented.
He is going to be so good. I mean, and he's relatively young. He's just.
And he missed that. It was supposed to be a spinning back fist. It kind of turned into a spinning forearm. I think you guys called it an elbow, but it never hit with the elbow. It hit him on the forearm, which can break your forearm, but he's talented. He's got so much technical skill, and he's so fast and elusive. You know, he had a hard time when he was in the UFC because he was young, and it was just a different place for him. But that's his second fight in Bellator. He's got 2 wins, both of them stoppages. He's looking good.
What I like about him is that, like, the things that I see young guys like Salim, like we just talked about Salim, the things that I see like Salim do in training, Salim doesn't do in the fight. Like, you do this very well. If you're catching guys that train with you every single day in training with these moves, it'll catch somebody that doesn't know you at all. So the fact is, when I see Enkamp do these things, I'm like, these are like things when I talk to him in the fighter meetings. He's like, yeah, I do this, I do that in training, I do this. And then I go back and I watch his videos, and I'm like, he does it in his fights though too. These are things that are important, because when you're trying to build a young guy or young talented guy or star or anyone like that, you've got to be able to take chances and risks. I'm not saying you need to be out there and fight stupid, but you have to be able to, like, if you know you're going to lose a takedown, why not jump triangle and see if you get it? What's the worst that can happen? If you're already on your way down, try and jump flying armbar. And I've seen him do it a couple times in some of his past fights. And I'm like, that's pretty impressive for a young guy. And he just has that body and that style that we talk about. A lot of the best fighters in the world have. Like, you have Anderson, you got John Jones, you've got long, lanky guys that just have Tony Ferguson. They're very good because I think that body style is made for MMA. Sure, there's good guys that are shorter and stockier, but I think the body style for MMA is that long, lanky style, the push kicks, the jumping knees, all the things, the elbows, the punching, like all that stuff for your stand-up makes it harder for someone to get in on the legs in the wrestling. And he does a great job. Not to mention, he's a pretty good wrestler himself. I was very impressed Yeah, I'm very impressed with his style. Like the way he fights. There was a ton of good fights. Kiefer had a good fight, very close fight. The only issue I have with Kiefer,
that was an unusual fight.
What do you mean?
It was unusual. Kiefer is normally a very aggressive, come forward, try to take your head off guy. Yeah. He got hit with a couple of body shots early in that fight. They altered his attitude. Yeah. He was like, oh, I can't have that happen again. In fact, in the first round, he took that fight to the ground based upon getting hit with a body shot. I don't think he could breathe. No, he actually didn't take the fight to the ground. Furtado slipped. Yep. And I said that was the best thing that could have possibly happened, because he got kicked with that body kick, and you could tell he just dropped his elbow and he backed away, and I saw the facial expression change, and I was like, oh, he's hurt. He's hurt. Yeah. And he started circling away, trying to get away, and I was like, oh, this isn't good. And then I realized that
he was able to he started trying to throw push kicks or whatever, and then Furtado threw a kick, and he caught the kick, and Furtado slipped. Yeah. And when he slipped, he fell, and he jumped right into his guard. I even said, I was like, this is the best thing that could have happened for Kiefer Crosby, because had that not happened, Furtado could have kept
him a chance to recover.
Well, not only that, but then he dominated the grappling.
Yeah.
There was no doubt he was the better grappler. Once they got on the ground, he was just all over Furtado. And I was like, why don't you try to wrestle more? Because your grappling's his grappling's
not
pretty
bad,
damn good.
Dude, he was doing a beautiful job of locking up the body triangle when he had the back. He's switching it the right way, how he's supposed to.
Yes.
Every time Furtado started to put that foot down, whoomp, there it went to the other side. He was doing a lot of really good things. He's got to work on how to free his hands.
Yeah, I have
and get his hands into position for the choke.
I've called 2 of his fights, and both times he's fought very hesitant. And I don't understand, like in the last fight, I can't remember who he fought. It was a last-minute replacement. I want to say like he ended up replacing somebody like a couple. I think the guy's name was Pereira or something like that. Anyways, and he fought very hesitant on that fight as well. And I'm like, every time he throws, he lands, and he lands with success, and he does a good job. And he just pushes the pace. Like at the very end of that third round, he needed that round to win. There was no doubt he was going to. To me, I was like, there's no doubt you need this round to win. And had he not had that flurry at the end where he hit him with some big shots and then was able to get the takedown when he caught the kick and got into the guard, had that not happened, I think he would have lost the fight. It was such a close fight.
Might have. It was very close.
So those of you guys listening to us at home, sorry. I mean, little jet lag, and I think I caught the coronavirus, on the way back home. So, but like I was telling you guys, I'm a little concerned on how I got it. All I drank was Guinness when I was over there.
Guinness is crap.
That was a really bad joke. I know. Sorry, guys. Sorry.
What was with the toe kicks to the butt?
I wanted to ask you that.
That's the same thing that happened. It was against a guy. Alfie Davis in a fight, and Kevin McDonald took points from the guy for doing it, saying it was illegal. I go, it's not illegal. You want to call it unsportsmanlike, you can do that, but there's nothing in the rules that says you can't kick, towards his
anus.
His anus there.
Yeah, let me ask you a question though. If the toe goes in the anus, like that's orifice, right? Like
it can. There's clothing in between it. Come on, let's be honest.
But I mean, I don't know. Like it's so strange, man. It's so strange.
Yeah. Well, you just look. He did it. He did it a couple of times, and Leon Roberts, the referee, kind of said something.
Yeah.
And then he went back to it later on in the fight when Kiefer ended up on the ground again.
Well, he doesn't speak. Furtado doesn't speak any English, by the way.
Well,
English.
He's not talking to Leon.
No, so he probably just thought like he just warned me like don't be careful, Now, I mean, I guess the concern is if you missed, you hit him in the bottom of the nuts, kind of in the taint area, and that could be an issue.
That's the whole thing.
So that would be the concern. But I wasn't sure because, I mean, I know there's no real penetration of the anus, but
there was concern about that.
Yeah, I mean, you really could rip someone's anus that way. Like that. Can you imagine like ripping someone's butthole with your toe, with your big toe? God, you could tear a taint. Man, that'd be horrible. Can you? Oh, I don't even want to think about it. It's disgusting.
Don't even want to think about it.
Oh, that's disgusting. Gosh, man, off the top of my head, I'm drawing a brain fart now. What other fights were on that card? Charlie Ward didn't have a great performance, but he got the win. He just was. It was easy for him to get takedowns. He ended up getting the finish with like a minute.
Charlie normally doesn't go for takedowns.
Yeah, but it was so easy for him. He was physically so much stronger than Kurtz. And then once he got that takedown, it was like he just realized, okay, this is the easiest road. And after his last fight where he was in a slugfest, and he was just getting teed and he bloody mess after that fight, I think he was like, look, let's just go away, get this easy money, and let's make our way on out. Aaron Chalmers, he is. I mean, we got to start thinking about whether we want to have him on TV right now. I mean, he's struggling with the takedown defense, and the way to beat him is to hold him down. So I think until he remedies that problem, look, I am a big fan of Aaron Chalmers. I like his style of like, let's just go get it. But not everyone wants to fight that way, and that's the problem. And when they put him with Austin Clem just knew. And once I get one takedown, if I get it early and often, guess what? This is going to be a real easy road for me. And and he proved it. Once he did get it, then there was no big deal. And my concern also, too, with Chalmers is there was moments there when he first got taken down. It was almost like he was really relaxed and calm. I'd like to see that, but I also like to see a little intensity on you trying to get up. There was moments where he was just hugging the head and the arm and not really, there was no attack for submission. There was no, let's try to get back to our feet. There was none of that. He was really just content with his back against the fence and holding on. And I'm a huge fan of him. He's a nice person. I enjoy watching him fight. But not everyone's going to just fight your style of where you stand in front of you and you guys trade. And Charlie Ward found that out last time he fought. I want to say he fought, where was it? In London. When, the guy just kept sticking and moving. Jab, move, jab, move. And he got blooded up from a jab. A couple good right hands, but he got blooded up with a jab because Charlie, every time he would jab, he would try to knock him out and he couldn't get him.
That's Paul Felder.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that here in a second. The other fight that I was really I thought was really good was the Leah McCourt fight. I thought I can't even say her name. Judith. Her name
Judith?
is no, it's not Judith. It's Judith.
Judith.
It's Judith. Yeah, don't chime in.
Judith
buddy.
Ruiz.
So, Judith Ruiz.
Ruiz.
Ruiz. It's Ruiz. Yeah. Well, no, because we got the text from the production company, right? And they said her name is Who Is, and I'm like, no. And then I asked her when she came to the fighter meetings. I said, how do you say your name? And he goes, Judith. And I'm like, oh, so what's her last name? Ruiz. And I'm like, okay, so R. He's like, yes, R. And I'm like, so is she Portuguese? No, she's German. And I was like, well, okay. Anyways, long story.
There you go.
It was. So I was impressed, man. I was look, people have to understand 5 fights. Leah McCourt being 4-1, I believe.
Come on.
5 fights, main event in Dublin. That crowd is insane.
She was pushed into that position, not that she wanted that position.
Yes.
That was Bellator goes to Dublin with James Gallagher for a reason.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's very true.
He puts butts in the seats. He sells out that arena. And there's a lot of pressure being that main card guy with that crowd. And to put Leah in that position, Bellator put her in a bad spot, actually.
Yeah.
They didn't, it's good for her, but it could have been very bad for her. And she handled it very well. I thought, I saw her doing the interviews and I saw what she was doing. I gave her a lot of credit for, being a young fighter. Mm-hmm. It's a lot different when no one wants to talk to you and you can just do what you're supposed to do, and having to meet all of these media requests and do all these things and still get your weight cuts in and still do your training. It's an entirely different process. And when you're young, it can throw you off. She didn't let it throw her off. She looked good. She hit her throws. She's very good with her hip toss. She gets against the cage. She'll do it either with an underhook or an overhook, but she did what she was supposed to do.
Yeah.
She's not the girl that's going to stand up on the outside the whole time and pick you apart. That's not her game. She's more grappling based because of her judo.
Yeah, I thought she could have stayed on the outside though and used her push kick and jab a little bit more. I would like to have seen her do that because of her length. I mean, I want to say she had like a 6-inch reach advantage, and so I'd have liked to have seen her do that more. But look, bottom line is she went out there, got the win, big stage, bright lights. Her 10-year-old daughter was there for the first 9-year-old daughter there for the first time watching her fight. I mean, I said, as if you couldn't add any more fucking pressure, you invite your daughter. Like, it couldn't have got any couldn't have got any harder.
True.
But I was happy for her, man. I was happy before I got a chance to interview her daughter afterwards with her in the cage, and it was, I don't know, like there's nothing that beats that. Like, I know I can be a little brash at times and be this, but I love seeing things like that. It was really heartfelt. It felt good.
That's called sharing a moment.
Yeah.
You know what? It's priceless.
Yeah. I don't. Most people maybe would have went to her right away for the first question.
No, I love the fact. I love the fact that you had her daughter there and you said, "Okay, I'm going to ask you first."
Yeah,
that was great.
See, how was it, man? She was nervous, and I said, "Well, how was it to see your mom win?" It was great. It was, like those are things that, for me, I'll remember that, as someone that they interview, and I remember her facial expression and what she said about her mom. I thought it was great, man. It was a good experience, and I'm happy for her. I really am happy for her. And so
Georgia Karhanyan had a good fight too in Ireland.
Yes, he did, and he needed that.
As soon as he's got a guillotine, man.
Yeah.
He's always had a dynamite guillotine. As soon as he sunk that, I go, oh, he's got it. That is trouble. And
yeah, he's got enough experience to know. Like I don't like when guys do that, because if they pop their head out, you're stuck on bottom. But I think when guys at his level, they know when they've got it. They know when it's in.
And he goes for that arm in guillotine. He doesn't care that he's got the arm in. He knows. He did that to Bubba Jenkins and just choked Bubba unconscious.
Yeah.
And he's got a beautiful little, he gets as soon as he knows that he's got his hands right on that, he knows I got you.
Yeah.
You're not popping your head.
The fight that I was most excited to see throughout the whole thing, Ricky Mendejas and Malambo.
Oh, that was a strange knockout.
Yeah.
It was strange because, and first, Ricky survived.
Yes.
Because Malambo had him in trouble.
A couple times. He had him in trouble a couple times. I'm sitting there with K-Shot going, bro, you're getting beat to the punch. He's catching all your kicks. You have no answer for this. You can't take him down.
In the end, he caught the kick again, but he stood there. And he got hit with a right hand and another right hand while he still held that kick with his left hand. I'm like, what are you doing? If you're going to catch the kick, bring the right hand to drive him back off balance so he can't land the punch. Or freaking let go of the leg or drive forward, but don't just stand there. He stood there and he got hit and then hit again. You can see, he's done. Yeah. He was in trouble.
Yeah, it gave me flashbacks to when I fought Hermes Franca. I came up on a single leg or he threw a kick or something like that. I can't remember the exact moment, but I had the leg against the fence and he fucking threw a loopy right hand and knocked me down. He almost knocked me out. I let go of the leg, went limp. My eyes were open and I'm like all the way down. I see the canvas getting closer to my face. I can't put my hands up because my body won't react. I was just all, Urgh. My face hit off the canvas and I woke up. I was like, oh shit, let's fight. It was, but in that situation, that scenario, Malambo hit the ground. As soon as you scoop the leg, you've got to lift it a little bit to kind of make sure you take power away from them and get them on their heels. And you've got to counter and throw. And instead, he caught it and just hung out there for a split second. Yeah, he just stood there. You got to move them, man. You got to get them on their heels. You got to drive into them, lift it a little bit as you do it. Yeah, and counter with punches. And he didn't do that. He'd been doing it earlier. But in that one case, he didn't do it, and it cost him the fight. And he literally was looking so good. I was like, Ricky, I was in my mind. In my mind, I'm like, dude, you're in a lot of trouble right now. You need to figure out your corners. Somebody need to tell you something because whatever you're doing right now is not working. And he just found a way. He found a way to do it. I walked into the case to do the interview, and King Mo's laying on the ground, going, oh man, thank God. He's like, thank God. He's like, because Ricky got food poisoning or something like that on Tuesday. When they got there, he'd been on the shitter all week, just like basically throwing up and shitting his brains out all week, just the whole time.
So what you're saying is he had no problems making weight.
Yeah, he pretty much, and then he still had to make a little bit, and he still had to cut some pounds, but he said felt like shit, and the weight cut actually didn't help because it made it last longer. And then, when you try to hydrate back up, it makes you dehydrated, and then you're going more. But I think that he has, I think he has a good team behind him now. I mean, I'm not that he didn't have a good team before. But
he had a good team before. Nick Catone's a great
guy.
Great coach.
When I talked with him about it, he's like, look, the bottom line is Nick Catone's trying to run a gym. He's like, what? I've been there at Nick's place for a while. He's like, and there's just so many guys, and Nick just doesn't have the time. He's like, and it's just not fair. He's like, I still train there. He's like, I'm still gonna be there. He's like, but when it comes to my camps, he's like, I gotta go. He's like, I gotta go down there. So, he's like, I'll still be both places and this and that. And so I understood, and and it was just, I was trying to figure out, I was like, why? What happened? Like something happened, and he's like, no, I need more time. I need more one-on-one time. And I agree, for a young man with a young career and 2 daughters and a wife, and you gotta
3 daughters.
Yeah, 3 daughters. You gotta do what's best for you. That's a handful, bro. Gosh, I have a lot of friends that have a lot of daughters only, and every time BJ Penn told me this one time, he's like, man, God has a sense of humor.
Yes, he does.
He's fucking hilarious. BJ's got 2 girls.
I could name a whole lot of fighters that have nothing but girls.
Yeah,
and that's when you go.
That's hilarious.
And yes, God does have a sense of humor, and He was watching you.
Yes.
And now He's gonna make you pay.
That's hilarious. That to me was shaping up to be a great fight, but Ricky was losing that fight. I got to give it to him, man. He pulled it out of his ass, and it was a good fight. Let's see. Okay, let's talk. Let's go. Look, realistically, did you watch the whole UFC card? I thought it was okay.
I watched the main card. I didn't watch the whole card.
I only watched the main card also, and I actually thought really only the main event was the fight really worth talking about. But
true.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I think they're all very talented. I think, but there was nothing really electric on the rest of the card. It was,
a very nice. I will give Jimmy Crute, beautiful Kimura. Yeah. Smart. The guy he's going against. I hate Mikhail. I can't say his name. Olenitsky, but whatever. But he's got big power. Jimmy Crute was smart. Stayed away from the power right away. And goes in, tries to take him down, gets him down. And just works him on the ground, gets that Kimura. That was a smart fight by Jimmy Crute, and that was a really nice Kimura because, that takes strength to do, and he cranked that thing backwards. That thing was nasty.
That's an example of what I was talking about. Not everyone wants to stand and fight your fight with you, so you got to make sure that you're well-rounded. You got to make sure that you know everything about the sport, not just on the feet, on the ground, everywhere. You got to be able to take this fight anywhere. So that was my point. The main event.
Talk to me about Felder and Hooker. What did you think?
I thought it was the right call. I could have seen it being 4-1 Hooker. I could have seen it being 3-2 Hooker. I could have seen it. But the reason why I say this, the only reason why I say this is you thought it was wrong? Wait, before we get into this, you thought
I'm okay with the call.
Okay.
It was a close fight.
It was a close fight.
It was even going into the 5th round.
Oh.
They split rounds. No doubt it's easy. Hooker wins the 1st round.
Yeah.
Felder comes back and he wins the 2nd round.
Oh no, I had Felder.
Oh yes, just go back and watch the power and watch Hooker get hurt. He got hurt. Okay, he never hurt Felder. He got hurt.
I'm gonna go home. I'm gonna watch it again. I watched it 2.5 times.
3rd round, Hooker jabs his head off.
Yeah.
Hits him with a freaking jab like it's a magnet.
You got to stop watching the punch stats, man. It doesn't help.
I don't watch punch stats. And in the 4th round, Felder, man, comes out and he laid some big, heavy right hands on him. He hurt him again. And it was even going into that 5th round. And the 5th round, I think Paul landed the better shots. You had Dan went for the takedown because he got hurt. Okay, that's what you got to figure out, though. He got hurt. That's why he goes for the takedown. He gets it, and then what does he do with it? Tell me what he did with that takedown. Come on, tell me. What was the big thing with it? Did he land anything good?
Yeah, I just dominated the position.
He didn't dominate shit. He got pushed to the side, and he's holding on. It's not like he's doing anything with it. And then Felder gets up, and he kind of trips him back down. He gets back up, and the fight ends.
Yeah.
And you look and you go, it's close. There is no robbery either way. But
no, it was not a robbery.
I can understand why Paul Felder goes, I think I won. I can understand why Dan Hooker goes, I think I won. It was a good fight. They both fought their asses off.
Yeah. The only reason why is I had Felder winning the first, or not Felder. I had Hooker winning the first 3.
Yes.
I had him. I had him winning the first 3. I thought he won the second. I had
your
Felder.
homework for the day is to go back and watch the 2nd round.
Okay, I had Felder for sure winning the 4th, and I had Hooker winning the 3rd. I mean the 5th.
Yes, he won the 3rd.
I said the 5th was kind of close, based on like you said, it was like the takedowns. What do they really do? Like, sure, you're just changing position.
The takedown occurred because somebody got hurt.
So you thought Felder won?
I did. By that much.
I guess, but then to go by your this is I can argue with you a little bit. Not argue, but let's have this conversation. Is if you want to look overall at the fight, who did more damage? I think it's pretty evident who did more damage.
Okay, hold on, stop. And this is where people lose their minds.
Okay, let's preach to me, brother.
Paul Felder's eye, his right eye, was hurt in the 1st round.
Yes.
Okay, it was damaged in the 1st round.
Yes.
Badly. Okay, you can see it was It was almost swollen shut.
Yeah.
That happened in the 1st round. Who won the 1st round? Dan Hooker won the 1st round.
Yes.
Okay, so it's got to have a significant amount of more damage being acquired to it that you say, okay, look at him, because all of that he carried through from the 1st round. So you don't go off of I can tell you that in the 4th round, take a look at Hooker's face in the beginning of that round, and take a look at it at the end of the round.
Yes. Yeah.
He takes damage, okay, but but Felder wins that round. So you can look and say, yes, Felder looked bad throughout the fight, but that's because he got hit with shots in the first round that damaged him. They damaged that eye, and that he had to carry out, with that eye through the 5 rounds. I give him credit because it's tough to see.
Yeah.
Man,
look, just to be 100% honest with everyone at home. Look, I was never a big Felder fan, but I gotta tell you, this fucking won me over. I'm I'm just like, I was always like, oh, he's good. I mean, I'm not trying to be a hater. He's good. He's fucking good. He's really
he's a tough
son
good. Of a bitch, man.
And and like to see when I saw him getting the inswell in his eye in the first round, in between rounds, I'm thinking to myself, dude, how are you gonna get through this fight? And when I had heard, I had already heard what the decisions were, but I came back home and watched it last night, and I was like, how is this guy gonna get through the fight? And I thought maybe the inswell they get it to work or something. I don't know, but
nope.
Bottom line to me was, and I give him all the credit in the world. He's a true warrior. And when someone says afterwards, this might be it for me, do not do that to yourself.
No.
Do not. How old is Felder?
That's called disappointment.
How old is Felder?
He's 30 years old now, I think.
Don't do it. This is like this is your time. Like, this is your time. A little setback. I know you have a 4-year-old daughter at home. If you hear me at all, do not do it. This is, he's 34.
34.
Oh, okay. Never mind. That's
a little bit older.
I'm saying 30, a little bit older. But look, I still had some good moments at that 35, 36. I think I fought Nate at 36. It's 37, something like that. Anyways, you have a couple more years. Do it. Don't stop now. Don't. You're right there. I want him. Like I said, before I was a fan, but not like, like when he was fighting, I was like, no, okay, maybe I'll watch, maybe I won't. But for now on, 100%. No. For now on, every time he fights, I'm like, I would love to watch this guy fight.
I just enjoy the fact that Paul Felder comes to fight.
Yes, he did.
You know he's going to be out there and he's going to give you everything he has and he's going to go for it. Yeah. He went for that fight. And I'll give Dan Hooker credit, man. Dan, he had a good game plan against a guy who is strong inside. He tried to keep him to the outside, pick him apart, jab the shit out of him, for a lot of that fight. So, he was there was moments where Paul was incapable of stopping that jab. He did not know what to do to get away from that thing. And it was an impressive performance by both guys. I enjoyed the fight. I'm okay with, what it is. I did have Felder winning the last one because the takedown did nothing and he hurt him. And that's why Hooker went for that takedown.
Yeah.
Smart move, but do something on the ground to tell me that you're going to take this over.
Yeah. I'll have to go back and watch round 2 is what you're saying. But I had him winning.
Round 2.
I had Hooker winning the first 3. And then
Hooker starts off winning the second round. He's winning. And then all of a sudden Felder starts catching him.
Yeah.
Catching him with big shots.
Yeah, I know he was catching him with big shots. I look at it like, hey, look, did he catch his 3 or 4, 5, 6 big shots? Or you're getting inside kicked, outside leg kicked, you're getting spun around with, calf kicks, you're getting hit. Like, that to me also to his damage, even though it doesn't look as good. Felder, like, I also feel like some guys, when they get hit, it sometimes looks worse because they roll with it a little bit more and they snap their head back. I'm not saying that's what happened. I'm saying, but when you hit Felder, his head doesn't move, and so that's why I think the damage accumulates a lot faster on their eyes, and start to swell. There's no movement. It's like hitting a brick wall. My fist hits your face and it doesn't move at all. And so you're taking the full grunt of it versus like rolling with the punches and rolling with the hit. And that, I don't know. It just, Felder had the punches that looked like they did more damage, but then the accumulation of punches on Felder's face showed that he took more damage. And if you look at his leg and his calf as well, and now I'm going to go back to what the announcer said, he is pale white, so
he is pale, pasty white.
So it does look a lot worse.
Conor was saying he wasn't Irish. I said, dude, take a look at his skin. He's definitely Irish.
Yeah, I'm just like, but the leg kicks and the calf kicks. I mean, the accumulation on his legs. I mean, like, I guess I could look at it that way. I don't know. I had Hooker winning the fight, but like I said, either way, it's one of those fights that I'd pay to see it, watch it again.
It's close.
I'd pay to see that fight go over again. Now, to talk about what Hooker said afterwards about how he wanted to fight Justin Gaethje, I'm a Hooker fan now. son, you need to work on your conditioning if you're going to fight Justin Gaethje.
Be careful of what you wish for.
Yeah, there's certain fights. I would think, look, styles make matchups. Paul Felder and Gaethje to me is fucking, that'd be a fight. You know, a great fight. And I'm saying stylistically, though, with Gaethje and Hooker, not a good fight. I think Felder and Gaethje would be a great fight. The other way around, not a good fight. Hooker and Gaethje, not.
Well, one of the things that Hooker had going for him in this matchup with Felder is he did have the threat of the takedown.
Yeah.
And that threat was there, and he tried to utilize it multiple times, wasn't able to actually get him to the ground, but slowed him down at times with the takedown attempts. You saw Felder, sometimes getting himself and pulling himself over to the cage to give him that balance point. But there will not be any takedown threat against Gaethje from Dan Hooker.
Yeah.
Okay. Gaethje's
his
wrestling is too good, and there will be no threat.
Yeah.
So it will be a matter of you will have to stand in front of a guy that is going to close the distance on you, put his foot right next to your foot, and fight you in a phone booth and make you fight his fight. Now, Dan Hooker's got enough skill and enough power. He could hurt Gaethje, but he's not going to be the one dictating how the fight plays out.
Yeah,
it'll be Gaethje.
I guess. Look, I'm not trying to bash on him at all. I'm saying I didn't see that grittiness level yet. I'm not saying he can't develop it and get it there. He gritted it out and he got the win. But like I said, I had him winning the first 3 and I had him losing the championship rounds. So I had him winning the first 3 and losing the championship rounds. And even the 5th round, I had it close. I actually had him losing that round also. So I had it 3-2 for the first 3 to Hooker and the last 2 to, and that made me think like, dude, you're not winning the championship rounds. You need to figure out a way to get in better shape. Because those upper talented guys, upper echelon guys, not that Paul Felder's not, but he showed he is because he won the championship rounds. They're going to be like that for every round.
Yep.
They're going to fight you like that for every round. Guys like Tony Ferguson, guys like Khabib, those guys are going to fight you hard for 5 rounds like that every single time.
And it's just going to keep intensifying.
Yep. So when your level gets here, they're going to up it a little bit more. They're going to pull Amos off. They're going to just always step up their game the whole time. So
talking about Khabib and Tony Ferguson, did you hear Eddie Bravo talking about that fight and what he's looking at and what he's thinking and stuff? I was like, all right.
Look, I think he does have a little bit of a point. Like he does.
He's got a good point, man.
Sorry, guys, I'm getting over the coronavirus.
You're not getting over it. It's coming.
It's here.
It's locking in.
I just came to spread it to Dave. Yeah, he has a point, but there's nothing that I think that Tony is going to show him that's going to make a difference in the grappling. I think the elbows is really, like I've said this I don't know how many times. I feel like I'm repeating myself. Dave tells me every time, he's like, you say the same thing every time about Tony. I'm like, look, the guy's extremely talented. He's fucking extremely good. Cardio out of the charts. He hits pretty hard. When he catches you at the end of the punches, he's got nasty, sharp elbows.
He's a lot stronger than he looks.
Yeah, he looks. So
he's got big hands.
He's got huge hands. He's not physically strong, but his strength is a wiry strength, like you said.
Yep.
And with that grip strength that he has, because he has such big hands, it's hard. You can't just pull your arm out or pull your wrist or roll your wrist out like you normally can against other people. But Khabib's dealt with all of that before. But I will go back and I said, like, look, Khabib had a little bit of a hard time with Conor in some of the exchanges on the takedowns because Conor did a very good job of controlling the wrist. If Tony does that, which he will, because that's exactly what he did when I fought him, and I've seen him do it to several other people after watching some of his fights. He gets wrist control. He does a great job at getting wrist control and controlling wrist control all the way back up to his feet if he wants to be on his feet. He does a good job of also attacking his submissions with his wrist control. So yes, there is a threat there, but to think that Khabib's gonna see something submission wise that he hasn't seen already, that's not gonna happen. There's so many guys that he's trained with, world class jiu-jitsu guys, either at Henzo's or in Dagestan or any other place. There's nothing I think that he's gonna show him and surprise him with submission wise. That doesn't mean that he can't beat him. I think it's unlikely. I'm simply saying that. I think it's unlikely, and I'm not trying to. No, I'm not trying to like.
You're not homering it.
I'm not homering this at all. I'm actually not homering this at all. But I have trained and competed with Khabib on a daily basis in the gym, and I've fought Tony to a shitty 15 minutes for me. And and I've seen Tony fight a bunch of times, and I've watched footage and tape on him a bunch of times. He's extremely talented. He's very good. I just, outside of, I think, the cuts, I don't think there's a way for him to win. I think Khabib is definitely focusing on getting the takedown, staying out of the guard, and pushing into like a half guard position and controlling that side control type position. What?
That's the big thing for, in my opinion, is, and Eddie talked about, that Tony's wrestling is on a different level and stuff like that. No.
Different level than what?
You said he was on a different level because he's been doing it his whole life, so Khabib's not going to be able to just take him down like he thinks.
Khabib's been wrestling bears since he was fucking 5. What level do you want to fucking get into?
I'm being honest. I'm saying that's what he was talking about. But I look and I say the one thing that Khabib, you can look and go back in his fights, and you can look at his fights. He had problems with Gleason Tebow, and it wasn't that he wasn't winning the fight. He was winning the fight, but it was closer, and there was times when he was getting out-muscled and pushed off at times, and a lot of it can be, hey, that just wasn't a good day for Khabib too. I don't know. You can go back and watch his RDA fight, and he was not able to get past the guard of RDA, and that caused him some problems. And if he cannot get past the guard of Tony Ferguson, if he takes him down, it will present problems for Khabib.
Yes.
And so that's where I'm really looking. That is, I think both of these guys can win this fight, and that's what makes it so interesting. Obviously, I think Khabib is the favorite. But I do know Tony, and I think Tony has the skill set that if he is able to do certain things, he can absolutely win this fight. And it's just a matter of those things like you're talking about. If he passes guard and gets into half guard, as soon as he gets to half guard, man, his odds are going way up.
Yeah.
Gets into side control, odds are going way up. Figure fours the legs on the takedown against the fence and rides himself into mount. Odds are going way up. But if he stays in, if he can't get past the legs of Tony and he gets caught in that guard position, he's going to have some problems. That fight is not going to be easy for him.
Yeah, it's I gotta tell, the elbows will make a big difference, and you gotta remember, you guys, if he gets a cut on the face in the first round, second round, whatever it is, like he gets lumped up, like you saw with Felder, it changes the dynamic of the fight from the beginning. It changes, and people are like, oh, he just got a little cut. It doesn't make a difference. That little tiny cut starts to swell, your eye starts to kind of shut, or if you get cut above the eye or anywhere up in the head, it just drips down into your face. Everything becomes a fog. Anything. And so
you get a little bump here. You're looking at that bump the whole time, and it kind of bothers you. And it's just, that's the way it is.
Like, think about how much.
I don't think Khabib's never been cut. Has he ever been cut?
I thought he had a little something on against either Ali Quinta or.
Did he have a little mark?
Something. He had something from one of his fights. I can't remember, but I think he had like a little cut under his eye. It wasn't anything bad. Yeah. It wasn't anything bad. It might have even been like a scratch. But I mean, anyways, yeah, I'm not disagreeing that he's going to be the most dangerous person he's fought, I think, to date.
It's only 2 months away.
I know.
Can't wait.
I know. I'm excited for that fight. I'm nervous, but I'm excited because I think that Khabib has all the ability to beat him, and I think Tony is the one that's going to give him not the most trouble, but the one that has the most potential to beat him, especially with cuts. You get it in the wrong spot, and the doctor can be like, hey, it's over. And then what?
Especially in New York.
Yes. Let's all not forget. It's that fucking whack-ass doctor that was there last time that stopped the Nate Diaz fight. I'm surprised they didn't go to Chicago. There's a big Russian population there. And that's why, that's why
there is a huge Russian population.
Yeah, I'm surprised they didn't go there. Interesting. The fight, I think it's going to be a great fight. I'm excited.
It is.
I want it to get there this time, and I think it will. I think they're both being cautious, both taking the time. When I talked to Khabib a week or two ago, he just asked, you come in and train, and one wants to train with people that make sure they understand how important it is and not to get hurt and that kind of stuff.
Someone's not going to try to do something that can end up.
Yeah. there's a lot of things that Khabib needs to be worried about for this fight. He needs to be worried about that push kick. He needs to be worried about the wrist control. He needs to be worried about the Darce, because that shit can be hit from every damn direction impossible.
Especially Tony.
Yes, Tony. There, he was talking about the rubber guard position. I'm like, look, the rubber guard only works if you put your head down on the chest, or if I'm in your guard. That's the only way it works, So with Khabib, you just got to keep his posture up. Never let him pull him down to where his head's down in the chest and he's able to attack and get those legs up high. Yep. That's a danger right there. There's a lot of things. But look, this is the fight game. Anything can happen. And I'm a true, firm believer of that. And you look at the Paul Felder fight. Who would have thought? I didn't even see the shot that caused that amount of damage on his face. And I went back and I was like, hey, this guy's fucking eye is swollen. What the hell?
Yeah.
It must have just got a nice little thumb in the eye, but it changed the whole way.
Just the knuckle.
The whole way that fight, played out, I think, because he didn't make it seem like it bothered him, but you knew there was just things that he didn't see coming, and fuck, he's a savage for that. What else? I had a list I sent you guys.
Deontay Wilder versus Tyson the Gypsy King Fury. What a job by Tyson Fury.
Yes.
God damn, he looked good. He just mauled him.
Good stoppage.
Absolutely. Mark Brilliant, God bless you for being a smart guy. Look, I'm going to be honest in this, and I thought that, if I was looking at this off of the first fight, I'm like, wow, if you're going to say who can really change what they did off of that first fight, I thought it was Deontay. Now, the one thing I did find out is I knew that Deontay had gained weight because he wasn't able to run. He had a leg injury and was gaining weight, but I didn't think Tyson Fury was going to come in as big as he did, and he was like 275. So he came in way bigger because he was 250 something in the first fight. But you can watch that. First off, Tyson Fury won every round. Every round. Deontay didn't win a round.
Yeah.
And you could tell after the second round, Deontay was in trouble. He was having problems. And he was just taking big shots periodically throughout, and then he got put down. He got put down with a body shot. He just was in a defensive mode for the most part, trying to land the big right hand, and he was telegraphing it because he's trying to load up on it. It wasn't even coming close for most of the fight. And in the end, he's just taking damage. So is he going to win this fight? No, he's not going to win the fight. And he says, I want to go out on I would have gone out on my shield. That's great. We know you would have gone out on your shield. But you would have taken how much more damage before that moment occurred, and how much damage was that moment going to be in taking away from your ability to come back and do this again and still be good, because you never know how much that beating is going to do to you. So Mark Breland did him a favor. He was not going to win that fight. That was the 7th round. He had lost every freaking round. And he wasn't going to knock out Fury. He wasn't even getting close with those shots. Fury was in complete control of that fight. I thought Mark Breland did the right thing. I know I know Deontay is mad at him and saying, I might, I don't know if I can have him back. And it's like, someday you'll figure out that man did you a favor.
Yeah. Yep. I thought Fury did everything he was supposed to do, that he did basically from the first fight, except he did it with more power. I thought things changed after the first knockdown. After the first knockdown, Wilder wasn't the same. He wasn't really escalating to much anyways up until then, but I'm saying that the fight changed dramatically after the first knockdown. And they were talking about blood coming out of the ear, and I was like, thinking to myself, I'm like, I could see maybe popping the eardrum, throwing the equilibrium off, but I'm saying he just really, that's what happens. Sometimes guys get knocked down and they just never recover. You're not the same guy anymore. And the fact that he looked at the ref like someone pushed him over, and he didn't realize how he got on the ground. He looked like he thought maybe the ref knocked him over or tripped him. And I was like, that's not a good sign. Like, you're looking at someone to blame, like someone tripped me and you fell. No, you got knocked down, dude.
Yep.
And when that happened, I'm like, ooh, this isn't good. And then
you could hear his corner on that one. You could hear his corner saying, "That was the back of the head." It's like your man ducked his head as the punch is landing, guys.
Not to mention, he got hit with the first punch first.
Exactly.
So
it's like
the first punch came, boom, and then the second punch came over.
Yep.
Look, I was very hesitant that when Tyson Fury said he was going to knock him out. I was like, bro, you did.
When he said second round, I go, yeah, that ain't going to happen.
Yeah.
But came close.
Then, and then when he knocked him down again in the 5th, right? He knocked him down again in the 5th, and then, they called the fight in the 7th.
Called.
But there was, like you said, there was never a moment where it was happening. Now, we've talked all the time about this about Wilder. He only needs to win 1 second of one round to win the fight.
That's right.
But that's when he said, I'd rather go out on my shield. And in my mind, I'm like, yeah, I kind of feel like we should have given him more of a chance. But also in the back of my mind, I'm like, dude, you didn't look good at all. Like
not at all.
You were not having success with anything you were doing.
He wasn't competitive.
Yeah.
Let's be honest, man. There came a point you look and you go, man, you are just getting tooled.
Yeah.
You're not, your feet are flat. You have no freaking step. You're not moving well. Nothing was working for him that night. And it could be based off of that first knockdown. It altered him.
Yeah, because you hear fighters all the time say like, "Oh, I got clipped." Some guys don't even go down. They're like, "After I hit that shot, I don't even remember the rest of the fight." So the simple fact of the matter is like, I've had moments where I brought up Hermes earlier. Where I fought Hermes Franco and he dropped me. There was moments in there where I'm kind of like, I don't know how I got to the next 3 minutes. I know, you just don't know. You really don't. You're like, it was all just a haze. It's like a big, it's a haze.
Yeah.
You have no idea what was going on, how you got to the next round. You're like, all of a sudden the bell rings, you're there. You're like, okay, next round. Okay, put some ice on my face, give me some water, and throw me back out there. That's really what the fighter is thinking at that moment. I've had some rough rounds myself, and I like look and like, shit, okay, what round is this? Okay, 3, okay, like give me some water, take my mouthpiece out, give me some water, put some Vaseline or whatever, and okay, let's get back out there. That's really the game plan at the time. Like, you're in survival mode. Sure. And he looked like he just was not in it. And I'm like, and he wasn't in it.
Come on, when he went back to his corner, take a look at his posture, take a look at his head position. He's looking down. He knows. Yeah. Man, nothing's working for him. There's nothing there. So I look at it, I think Mark Breland did absolutely the right thing. Get him out of the fight before he takes that shot that is going to change him forever, take away his ability to come back and be a champion again if possible. Hey, this is a smart move. I know it hurts and you feel like someone took away the possibility. He didn't. Yeah. He saved the possibility. That's what you need to look at.
Yeah. What was it the fighter that died, or was it the other one that when Buddy McGirt stopped the fight?
Buddy McGirt stopped.
Was that with
Max?
Max?
Was Max. That was with Max.
And then he passed, right? Like a couple days later. Yeah.
Yep.
That's just, it's a classic example of like, you have a guy, because you have guys, your coaches, he was a former fighter, correct? Olympian, correct?
Oh, Mark Breland was an Olympic champion.
Olympic champion? I thought he was a bronze. Okay, anyways, you're probably right.
I think he was Olympic gold medalist, but then he became, he might have actually won the welterweight title as a pro, but he didn't have, the most successful career. He had a winning record, but he got beat multiple times.
Okay. I'm not too familiar with him as before my time. But like when you have someone like that in your corner, you have them there for a reason. And when you like, I would love to sit here and argue about this, but the bottom line is you have them there because they love you, they care for you, they're your coach. You have a relationship with them, and you expect them to step in. Obviously, because fighters don't ever really look out for their own well-being because we're stupid.
Nope.
And so you have them there for that. Now it does get a little cloudy when it's your dad. That's different. I feel like, sure, they love you. It gets a little cloudy there.
That's the worst.
Yeah.
That's the worst. Because they don't go with that.
Yeah.
Their son can do it.
Yeah.
It's like, Jesus Christ.
It gets a little cloudy there. But when you have someone you've trained with all the time, and for me, it was always Bob Cook and Javier Mendez. And I've had, some close with Rick Noble, who was one of my boxing coaches. And if they would have told me, hey, let's just call it, and I would have said, okay. Like, you have to believe in them. That's what they're fucking there for. You're not thinking at that moment. If you fight them tooth and nail, they'll say, okay, I'll give you a minute or two in the next round. But then that's it. Like, if you're not showing me anything, we're done. And he did the right thing. I really did in the long term, like you said. He has more in him, a lot more, and who's to say he doesn't go and fight Ruiz now, and he doesn't go and fight Anthony Joshua now, and like make a ton more money and just work, 1 or 2 more wins, and guess what? Make the adjustments on what you think your camp went wrong last time, and go out there and fight him again. Dude, we're basically we're at the Canelo and Triple G fight position now. Okay, there's 1 draw, 1 loss. Let's go. Let's do it again. Let's see. And if someone else wins, guess what? You get a 4th fight. It's like I get so mad all the time at the judges that fucking let Gilbert beat me the 3rd time. I wish it was a draw. We fucking guaranteed a 4th one. No. So you know what I mean? You just think in terms of as a fighter, you always think like, what if?
Well, as the fighter, you've got, it's a 2-way street. The trainer, look at, they trust in you. That's why they're in your corner. They believe in you. They believe that you can go out there and win this fight. And man, they have invested so much. People have no idea how much that trainer invests in the fighter for that fight. Yeah. And the fighter has to trust in their trainer. They're trusting that the trainer is going to give them proper information, come up with a game plan that is a viable game plan against this opponent. There's all these things, but nobody knows you as the fighter better than your trainer. Yeah. Nobody. Okay. The referee doesn't know as well. The commentators don't know as well. Nobody. When it comes to fighting, that trainer knows you better than anybody. And when they say, hey, it's done, let's pull the cord, then it's probably time to pull the cord, because they know you're just not fighting the way that you can fight, or you're not doing the things that we plan for, and you're getting beat, you're getting damaged. Let me get you out of this fight before you take the damage that you cannot recover from. Smart.
Yeah, very smart. Very smart. Yeah, I thought I was thinking the same thing. It was upsetting because in my mind I was playing the whole, he's only got to win 1 second of 1 round to win this fight.
That second one.
Yeah, but
and you got to look, and most of the time I would tell you, because I always, as a referee, you think about things like when it comes to fighting. MMA and boxing are a little bit different, because in boxing you're looking at, can he win on the scorecards? Well, there was no way he was going to win on the scorecards. He had 3 knockdowns, okay? Those are all 10-8 and a 10-7 round, and he hadn't won any of them. So there wasn't even enough rounds if he won all the rest of the rounds for him to win, and he would have had to have knockdowns too. So there was just no way for him to win on the scorecards. Then you look and say, does he have a puncher's chance? Well, when you're looking at a guy like Deontay Wilder, who's every fight except for 2 has been a knockout. Yeah. He's the guy that you go, he's got that chance. But then you watch this fight, and you watch everything that has occurred, and you watch the way he is throwing punches when he throws them. There's just nothing there. He doesn't have that same natural, that sting that you can see. He's not throwing with the same speed. It's just not his night. And you got to know, hey, no, you don't have that puncher's chance either. Not in this fight. It's gone. And so that's when you say it's time to get you out of the fight.
Yeah, good call by his coach. I mean, I hope they stay together. I hope he understands that his coach did him a favor.
I hope he does.
What else did I put on that list?
Aldo gets the shot against Cejudo.
Coming off a loss, right?
Coming off a loss to Moraes.
Not that look, I'm never going to argue with the fact that Aldo deserves a shot. I'm never going to argue that fact. He's just the guy, man. To me, he's first ballot Hall of Famer if there was a first ballot kind of thing.
No doubt. Look at what he did in the WEC, then brought it to the UFC.
Just an animal.
Guy's been incredible.
He's by far one of my favorite fighters to ever watch. But he's what was I going to say? He is coming off a loss to Moraes. They don't want to give Moraes a title shot because, he just had the title shot
against Cejudo. Cejudo wins the fight, so I can understand them going, well, we're going to put this down in Brazil, and that's going to be a...
Hopefully Henry comes back.
he starts doing all that triple C stuff there, and with the cringe, they might not make it back.
Yeah, he may not get back. He better lose.
He's got his friends in the Pitbull brothers.
Yeah, that's very true. I didn't think about that. So
he's all right.
Yeah, and then Eric Alberson.
Yeah,
he's down there too. Look, I think I mean, stylistically, it's a good fight because Aldo is not easy to take down.
No.
You know, and I really am only truly encouraged by this if I can see Aldo throw at least one leg kick. Can you please? Can you? I mean, if he chops at that calf at all again, because I mean, I thought to me Aldo making the weight cut, I was like, oh shit, this is gonna be like a TJ Dillashaw type thing.
Yeah.
He looked fucking great.
Yeah,
he
looked
great. He just had to pull the trigger more. Like we were talking about this, he had to just pull the trigger a little bit more, and I think he would have won that fight. Putting the pressure and then not pulling the trigger.
Just what you're saying. The leg kicks. No leg kicks from a guy that you looked at and said, this guy had some of the best leg kicks of any fighter out there.
I was watching him. I was watching a video of him just recently spar with Dantes, one of our guys.
Yeah, Eduardo. They trained together all.
Yeah, 135 pounds. Yeah, gosh, man, Dantes. I didn't realize he's pretty damn big. Like I've seen him in person. I'm like, oh, he doesn't look that big. But then I saw him next to Aldo. I'm like, oh wow, you're pretty damn big. I can see why he went up. You know, why he went up in weight. But anyways, that to me is it's gonna be a decent fight in terms of. Aldo brings something to the table in terms of with Cejudo. It's going to be a lot harder for him to get those takedowns than people think. We've seen guys like Chad Mendes trying to take him down. Now I know it's a different level of wrestling than Chad and him. I'm not trying to make the comparison. But Chad had a hard time getting takedowns on him. Chad's fast, explosive like Cejudo was on the takedowns, but he just chains it together a lot better. Aldo being able to get up from the bottom, he's very good at that as well. And
Cejudo has the best inside trip in MMA.
Yes.
The best.
Yes.
No one hits an inside trip better than Cejudo.
Really? Let me see if I can.
No one. Go ahead.
Probably not.
No one.
He is a Olympic gold medalist, so that's
yeah, it's not bad.
Kind of limits who I can talk to, right? Yeah, I'm encouraged to see the fight because it's a different fight. It's a different style of fight. Like Moraes. He's big, he's fast, he's quick, he's got big power, like that kind of thing. Aldo is fast. He's very, he's just good, man. I think it's going to be a harder fight for him than Moraes was. Just my opinion.
You think the fight is harder for Cejudo than the Moraes fight?
Yes.
That's what you're saying?
Yes. I think so.
Okay.
I think so.
All right.
Yeah, I think just the knowledge. I'm not trying to knock Moraes at all. I think he's very good. I just think that I don't know if he came in like unprepared or just didn't train as hard, or he just what is the word I'm looking for? He took for granted or he overlooked him. He overlooked him. I think he overlooked Cejudo, saying like, you're gonna come up and wait and gonna beat me. I'm a big guy, he walks around pretty big. He's like, I'm just gonna fucking knock your head off.
You think he overlooked someone in a championship fight?
I think somebody who's coming up from 125 and didn't have very much success before at 135 now went back. Yeah, I think he did. I think he did just a tiny bit. A tiny bit.
Then that mistake cost him the fight.
It did. I think. I also think for how big he is, it's hard for him to fight a 5-round fight against guys that are as active
that's the real difference that I see with Cejudo fighting Aldo versus Moraes. I think Moraes in the first couple rounds is a harder package to deal with.
Yes.
I think that Aldo, with all of his experience in all of those 5-round fights, and he fights well into the 5th round, he's not going to fade. You've got to put damage on him to make him fade, because if you're not putting damage on him, he's not going to get tired. He's not going to stop. He's going to keep coming, and so he's going to be there for the full 5.
Yeah, I'm excited to see that fight.
That's a good one.
It is.
It really is, and I don't care that he's coming off with a loss against Moraes. It's like, with everything he's done, I'm okay with it.
Yeah, I just look at it. He's a legend, man, and I just can't. I wouldn't try to take that away from him. Like, if you want to get a fight, get a fight. I'm like, honestly, he's fucking so good, and I've loved watching him fight. It'd be a sad day when he retires. I'm glad he's getting the title shot. I mean, I can't think of anyone else. Like, you have what? Aljamain Sterling.
Aljamain Sterling. You know what? Aljamain's got a case.
He does.
You could look and say that he deserves it. He's had his, he came up fast, had his little setbacks, but he's climbed back and he's won those, fights they've put him in. He's done everything he's supposed to do. So he's got a complaint.
Peter Yan's there as well. He just smashed.
Peter Yan. Yes, that's another one right there. Sorry. Yeah. I can see that.
Peter Yan hasn't lost since coming into the UFC.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that's a little bit of. I guess maybe that's a little slap in the face. I don't know. Maybe they're doing Henry a favor, saying like, "Hey, you want to fight a legend? Maybe we'll give it to you." And I don't know. I don't know what they're doing, but who knows? Whatever. Hey, I'm not gonna argue about it because it's Jose Aldo. You know. We're gonna talk about
2 other fights Ariel announced today. One is Ariel Helwani.
Ariel.
Volkanovski and Holloway 2 in Australia later this year, and then Conor McGregor versus Justin Gaethje International Fight Week.
Oh, did they made it?
So Ariel's reporting them. That's why I'm being specific about that because you know it could change.
What was the first fight? What was the first fight?
Volkanovski and Holloway 2.
Yeah.
In Australia.
Yeah. Did they announce it, or is he just reporting that they're about to announce it?
It's been reported, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay, then that doesn't mean shit. Could be.
Yeah, it could be.
I believe the Volkanovski versus Holloway.
Max, yeah.
UFC 251 is confirmed for Australia on June 7th. So
okay, there you go.
Yeah, that would make sense.
One is.
That would make sense. Did someone have surgery? Max or Volkanovski have surgery on something? After that fight, I thought one of them was injured, had to have surgery on something. I think or they broke a hand or a bone or something.
I think Volkanovski had a bad hand.
I think he broke his hand or his foot. So I think he did something like that. That's gonna be a good fight. Let's talk real quick. I don't want to get too controversial over all this shit, but Izzy's remarks about the Twin Towers. I'm gonna crumble you like the Twin Towers. He launched his apology, and Scottish Dave over here, podcast Dave, he's like cringing, going, "Ugh, I can't believe he said that." Dude, we can't expect everyone from all around the world to be sensitive to the shit that happens in the U.S.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, man.
It's not the brightest comment in the world. It's not the brightest comment, but it doesn't have. He doesn't have a bad intent with it. He's just saying that I'm going to make you fall.
Yeah.
And and he was trying to be dramatic with it, and I look at it and it's like, I'm pretty patriotic, and I don't have a bad feeling about Izzy for what he said. So
no, yeah, it's just one of those, and I think his apology was heartfelt to me. I felt like he meant it. It's like it really did come from the heart. The way he structured, the way he apologized about it, it was very much like, hey, I definitely didn't mean it that way. I think you guys understood what I was trying to say. I'm gonna crumble. I get it, man, and from my outside looking in, Dave's over here shaking his head like he should have known better. I mean,
just somebody like him who he clearly tries pretty hard to get his persona across, and I think like that's a mistake that you just when your eagerness to get be noticed, it overtakes. Like he said it pretty well that his brain thought faster than his mouth or something like that. So and I
think his mouth.
His mouth thought faster than his brain.
His mouth moves faster than his brain.
And it's not. You just need to be a bit more careful.
Yeah.
Like when Conor was doing all this stuff at the Khabib press conference, and it was very similar. Remember, it was just really cringy. He was kind of almost teetering on the kind of religious Muslim stuff.
Oh no, he didn't teeter on. He fucking went on.
There was no teetering. He took the line and he crushed the line. He stepped way over it.
He posted a picture of Khabib's wife with a towel, like a they call it something, but where they wear over their head. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. No, like you just can't go there, right?
That's going over the fucking line. That's not even fun.
You just got to think a little bit. Like, there's a one way to promote a fight, and then there's another way to promote a fight.
But I will say this, and I'm going to go to Brendan Schaub on this too, is that Brendan has a couple times said some cringy things on his show, and like to Brendan's, what Izzy said and what Brendan said, dude, I'm on the fucking front of a microphone all day long. I'm bound to say something stupid. Cut me a little bit of slack. Like, it happens, man. It really does. Like, I think some guys, they get away with it a lot more. Like, I'm sure a lot of shit that we would say, that people, if Joe said it, no one would give two shits. They wouldn't say a fucking thing about it because it's Joe Rogan, right? It's like, you know what I mean? But then they give him a hard time because he said something about he liked Bernie. Like, it really depends on what the hot topic is that week. I do think he did mess up, but he apologized, and I'm ready to move on. I think
that's it.
Yeah, that's it, man. I don't think he meant it with any bad intention, and it's
the whole thing comes down to how many of us have never made a mistake.
Exactly. Oh, yeah.
Hey, we cut Josh for 2 hours each week.
And that's all. We're all. If you're talking, you're gonna say something stupid somewhere along the way. You're gonna make a mistake in a comment. It's not meant to be, personal. But
truly,
if someone took it personally, you apologize and you move on, and that's what he's done.
Yep.
We can end on a high note. My girl JoJo getting that title shot. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Oh, see, man, and I thought that
he just ruined the whole
of
show.
all people, podcast Dave would be concerned about this because JoJo's getting a title shot against Valentina Shevchenko, who just happens to be probably the
best fighter in the game.
In the female ranks right now. And I like JoJo Calderwood. That is not a good matchup for her.
Telling you, man, I've just, you got to have faith in us. You got to have faith in us.
Jeez, man.
All right, here's what we're going to do.
William Wallace is not fighting that fight for
William Wallace will not be with a sword by her. So I'll tell you what. I'll give you JoJo. I'll take Valentina, and I will buy you any bottle of scotch you want for your win, and you will buy me any bottle of whiskey I want.
That you want, or can I pick it?
Oh no, because those bottles get a little expensive, buddy.
Some of them do.
Some of them do. Oh man.
Nothing over $200. We'll say.
All right.
Deal. I won't take.
You said deal. Are you serious?
Serious?
You're fucking.
I gotta put faith in my girl, man.
You're crazy, bro.
I just got a 200
and you not
bottle
seen
of
Valentina
dollar
fight?
I know, dude.
Jesus.
It's like
this is how you're letting all of our fans know that listen to this show that you're a WWE guy right now. they all know that you're at home with your little fake WWE belt, fucking throwing your son on the couch trying to elbow drop him and shit because you have no idea about MMA. Good God. Shit, I feel like there was something else. Was there anything else? Was that all that was on this?
No, you had them different orders. But so that was it, yeah.
Okay. Anything else?
No, we're good, man. Should be the one thing I did miss, and I gotta say, there was 2 fights on the preliminary cards that I had. Mm-hmm. One, Keith Lee came out and fought Sean Bunch.
Yes.
Man, got to give Keith Lee credit. That kid put on a fight.
Yeah, he did.
He looked good. He's got a lot of pressure on him because his brother's Kevin and all kinds of things. Man, he came out. He looked really, really good.
Yeah.
The other one is Josh Hill, 19-3. He's got 2 guys he's lost to. He lost to Marlon Moraes twice in the World Series of Fighting, but he put on a really good performance against Zani, and Zani came out, fought hard. He's always super aggressive. He's going to be a lot of fun to watch in the future. But all 3 of those guys, great job.
Yeah, there's a guy out of SBG that fought on the post limbs, and I feel so bad for him because he's so fucking good. Elias Boulade, extremely good kickboxer. Like,
is that the kid that was wearing the floppy white and gold stuff?
No.
There was a kid fighting. He had big old freaking almost like a skirt with white and gold.
He was good too, though. God,
yeah.
I'm sorry. Next time I'm gonna bring my bout sheet because I'm the worst at remembering names. You guys, excuse me, I got punched in the head for a living for 22 years, so my short-term memory I think is gone. He was very good as well, but he got hit with some clean, good shots against the guy he was fighting. He ended up.
That kid ended up beating him up, taking him down.
Yeah, but it was a tough fight for him. He was losing that fight until he was able to start catching him a little bit towards the end of the first and was able to get the takedown. But Elias Boulade is phenomenal, good kickboxer. But what I like that that the other kid wasn't doing in that first fight was keeping his back off the fence. Boulade was. He's very good with his footwork. He's got pretty good takedown defense. I haven't seen any grappling just yet out of him because no one can get in on his legs because he's so fast. But he puts together just 6 and 7 punch combinations mixed in with his kicks. He exits out with his hands. I'm telling you, John, He's good, man. Here's the only thing is I haven't seen anyone take him down yet, and I haven't seen him off of his back, and I haven't seen him get up. I've seen him, like kind of go down, but then pop right back up, and it just wasn't enough. But they're also matching him up right now with guys that are very good kickboxers as well, and he's just torching them. And he's got an extensive kickboxing background as well. You can tell as soon as you see him, you'll be like, good God. We'll see exactly what happens with him, but I keep an eye out. But he's one of Kavanaugh's guys. And
in the realm of kickboxing, an excellent performance. Did you see Denise Kielholtz?
Yes, I
against
did.
Christina Williams?
Yes, I did.
Man,
yeah,
she looked good.
Yeah, she did.
I love her little lean back and come in, pop, pop, pop.
She's getting so much better.
Got the takedown. She's gotten really good.
She's getting so much better. Yes.
Yep.
Oh, man. I think I'm excited. I want to let everyone know this. San Jose and London in May. You guys, I'm telling you right now, those two cards, there's fights on there that I know are going to be announced soon that I can't bring up because I got to wait till they announce them. Those two cards, you guys got to make sure you guys tune in. There's just no way about it. That London card is stacked. All of the best guys are matched up against each other, and it's just, I cannot wait for that. That London card is going to be fucking stacked.
And that San Jose card, look, it's got Bader against Nemkov and Gegard against Lima. Come on.
Yeah, but there's two fights on that card also that haven't been announced yet that are fucking really damn good.
I'm not saying
that. All right, guys. Well, hey, like I said in the beginning of the show, we are on
Stitcher,
Spotify, YouTube, iTunes,
SoundCloud, Google Play, and YouTube.
Damn.
We're on all of them, baby. For now on, we should just say all platforms, right?
All platforms.
Yeah, the ones that people usually listen to are iTunes, Spotify, and Stitcher.
Okay, so
let's just say we're on all platforms that matter.
Yes.
Exactly.
Boom.
And then follow us on Instagram. I'm The Real Punk on Instagram and on Twitter. Follow, what is it on Weigh In Show on Instagram as well. Follow us there. John McCarthy MMA on Instagram and Twitter as well. Correct?
And you can buy a weighing in shirt from
Dave.
ProWrestlingTees.com/Josh Thompson Official has the weighing in logo shirt. They're now available there.
You did a beautiful job of wearing that when you were talking with Goldie, setting up the fights for Ireland. I was very proud of you.
Yes.
I was like, look at him with that gorgeous-looking shirt.
I pulled a fast one on Fish. It says in the pamphlet, it said show up in street clothes or, you don't have to wear a suit. You can show up in street clothes. And I showed up in that, and he looked at me like, what is that? And I was like, I'm about to get it. But I said,
it's a shirt.
I told him, I said, you said street clothes. He's like, what's Wayne? He's like, is that Wayne in your podcast with Big John? I'm like, yeah. He's like, okay. And but I told him, I said, just to be honest, the day before we had done something, and I wore I brought 2 Bellator shirts, and they were both dirty. I wore both of them already, and I was like, fuck. I didn't even think in terms of like, I should wear this anyways. He's just like, all right, I'll let it slide.
It was an outstanding job. I was proud of you.
No, thank you. I was out there flexing.
I also read a bunch of comments where people were saying they could give me amazing designs for a new T-shirt. So I'm still waiting for all these amazing geniuses to send me their designs. So that and I told them how to send it as well. So still waiting for some designs. I'll get them to you guys, and then we'll have another T-shirt.
I think by making fun of them, calling amazing geniuses, I'm sure it's going to get us way more designs. Good job, Dave.
Well,
all you guys at home that just heard that's the reason why I pick on them all the time. I see you guys in the comment section. Don't think I don't read those damn comments. I see you guys always asking me, why you always pick on Dave? Why you always picking on Dave? Why you always pick on Podcast Dave? This is why, ladies and gentlemen. This is why.
And because he is a homer. It's just because someone's from Scotland.
Yep.
Then you go and you get suckered into a bet. My God.
This is why you do not bet with your
heart.
Yeah, with your heart.
Got to bet with your mind.
Look, he's over here stroking his Scottish flag. I don't know what that is. That's not the Scottish flag.
That is a Scottish flag?
I thought it was blue and white.
There's 2 Scottish flags.
You got 2.
That's how big time we are.
Wow, you got 2 of them, huh? Are you just
No, they're confused.
They're just indecisive, right? They have no idea which ones they want. Well, we want this one this week. This one this week.
Do this one. No, this one.
Yeah.
All right,
I guess
brother.
I think that's it. All right, my man.
Sounds good, man.
Talk soon. Hey, thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure you guys hit the thumbs up on YouTube, and that shares our videos to everyone. We appreciate you guys, and looking forward to. We're gonna try. I want to try and maybe do a fan question this week. See if we can do something like that. Get something like that going. All right, guys. So we'll have Dave put up some fan question things tomorrow, and we'll see what we can get for fan questions for the rest of the week, and we'll do another show this week.